We got episode 2 of Rock Talk today. Today, we will be talking once again with David Frangioni, the owner and CEO of Modern Drummer. We have a very exciting episode for you guys today. We're going to be talking about the Grammys. We're going to be talking about the legendary drummer, Alex Van Halen. Do you guys know Alex Van Halen from a little group called Van Halen? We're going to be getting all into Alex Van Halen as a band. Been learning a lot about Alex and the band, and David is going to share a bunch of stories with us and shed some light on why he is such a legendary drummer in the world of rock. So this is the second episode of a weekly kind of like podcast that we're doing here on the channel now. Brought to you by Modern Drummer Magazine. If you guys don't know, Modern Drummer Magazine is the premier drum magazine in the world. I believe it's been around since the 70s. I grew up subscribed to Modern Drummer, reading Modern Drummer. They had a series called the Modern Drummer Festival, where they bring all the big drummers together and everybody perform. They'd sell DVDs, and I had all the DVDs and watched them all growing up. So working with Modern Drummer now is just like absolutely insane. All right, David, I'm gonna bring you on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the man with the talk of the rock, David Frangioni. Let's go. How are you doing?
Where's our crowd sound effects? A rock crowd. I'm doing great, man. It's great to see you, Office Drummer. Great to see everyone here back for episode 2. Feels like 5 minutes ago we were on episode 1, and you know, we talked about Ozzy last time, and we're talking about the Grammys part of this time. And guess what? Changes. One of Ozzy's song, which Sharon Osbourne went to the stage during the acceptance, that song was redone by Youngblood and Adam Wakeman and Nuno Betancourt, so a very old friend of mine, and a group of rock stars with Youngblood, and it won.
We fucking love you, Ozzy. Yeah. We would all like to thank Sharon, Jack, Kelly, and Amy for this opportunity. Everyone at the Back to the Beginning show, the whole band with me right now, where 6 generations of rock musicians came together in the name of our genre, in the name of Sabbath, and in the name of Ozzy Osbourne.
So it's Ozzy. We're bookended Ozzy greatness here. So how beautiful is that? And they did an incredible tribute to Ozzy.
Amazing. I mean, his legacy just lives on. He is the quintessential rock star.
He certainly is. The Prince of Darkness is the Prince of Light in a time where, you know, we really are all inspired by the incredible career that he left us with, and the music we'll have forever. And so it was great to see the Grammys. You know, it was a double barrel for Ozzy. You know, his song winning a Grammy, Changes. He's done it for decades. Kelly, his daughter, did it. Actually, we did that in the studio I built for him. That was in that period of time when she and Ozzy did a Changes duet, which was really beautiful. And now Youngblood's redone it with an all-star cast. And it wins a Grammy a few days ago as we record this. And then on the same telecast, Chad Smith and Slash and Post Malone and Duff did an Ozzy tribute.
Amazing. Insane. What a cast.
It really is. Yeah, it's really amazing. It's just great to see Ozzy recognized that way. Sharon and Jack and Kelly were in the audience, and the camera was cutting to them. And of course, it was very, very sad. So as beautiful as the moment was to honor Ozzy and his legacy, you know, it was also the first time that there's been a Grammy Awards without Ozzy with us, you know, in person. So it was really really sentimental and a you know, great tribute.
Yeah, may he rest in peace, and you know, sorry for your loss and the loss of rock. I mean, gosh,
Yep.
just a center figure in the rock and roll world, and it's crazy.
And Youngblood, you know, he performed at Ozzy's tribute concert that Ozzy was at, right? We talked about that last week. Like, I don't know of another artist in history that attended their own memorial concert, you know, so that was really something. But Youngblood was there, and it felt to me, of course, nobody knew that Ozzy was going to pass a few weeks later. I mean, that's, you know, that was out of the blue sky. But the concert and the backstage footage felt to me like Youngblood was being passed the torch. There was a reverence between Youngblood being there and being so young age wise, and Ozzy being the king of metal. You know, and they spent time together. It was really something. And now seeing Youngblood win a Grammy for an Ozzy cover, you know, it's really come full circle. It really is the next generation arriving, you know, on the scene. And then we had Turnstile win 2 Grammys, and Daniel Fang is a great friend of mine and modern drummer, and he's an incredible drummer. The band is incredible, Turnstile. They're absolutely fantastic. And so, you know, we're seeing some of the more recent bands, if you will. I mean, compared to, you know, Ozzy's generation starting in the 70s, these bands are much more recent, last 10 to 20 years, say. And they're just, they're incredible. You know, it's great to see that next wave of rock stars.
Absolutely. For me, Turnstile is the best new band. Glow On, I've had on repeat for 2 years now, it feels like. And I
They're
think
so good.
It's totally deserved. And the dogs agree as well. The dogs love Turnstile. They're just borking so much.
I love it. Chat, how's chat doing out there?
Chat, how you guys feeling?
They with us?
They say
They rocking?
nice Kiss jacket.
Hard Rock Edition.
The Hard Rock Edition. Are you a fan of any comic books, David? A little bit of a random question.
Oh man, you know, I've been a collector of all kinds of things my whole life, and I wasn't a collector of comic books like I collected baseball cards and other things, movie props, movie posters. Of course, I wrote the books on movie posters that are out, Clint Eastwood icon. So long-winded answer. I'm not an avid fan of comic books like I am in other areas of collecting and interest, but I do like comic books. It's just I'm very respectful of the comic book aficionado world, and the people that are into that, like they're into it like I'm into, you know, the props and the posters and the, you know, records and the things that I do collect, because that is truly a passion. But I'll go to comic book conventions just because it's such a fun place to be, and I love the art, because if you love movie posters, I don't see how you don't love comic books, because there's so much just cool art to the comic books. And of course, I'm a huge movie buff, so comic books are kind of that bridge to a great story and great art, and I love both of those things. But I think early on I just decided that I was going to go in a different direction, but you know, you can only collect so many things, right?
Favorite
At least that's what I'm
superhero?
telling myself. Favorite superhero? Batman.
Batman. Ooh, yeah, and you kind of have a little Batman vibe to you, I'd say.
That's a great compliment. Thank you. Compliments will get you everywhere. Chat, if I'm Batman, you guys are the coolest chat I've ever been in.
Hey, that makes, you know, my name is literally Dick Grayson. Grayson's my middle name, so
Okay.
You know,
All right.
I could be Robin. I could be your Robin. No problem.
I love it. I'll tell you, man. Well, we got Rock Talk, and this is all about Batman and Robin, and we never talked about who was who. So I
I
don't
think
know, because
it's
you're very
established.
Batman. No, you think? All right, I'll go with it, man. I'm going with it. So and then we'll get a third. We'll get Alfred in here at some point. We'll get the butler,
Yeah,
and
well,
we'll just keep going.
yeah. Once Rock Talk really takes off, we'll get an Alfred.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? But it's going to take off because we love rock and we love to talk, and chat loves to hear it. And we're here to share stories that, we've had just an incredible life well lived. And I love sharing it. I love any inspiration I can bring. I've worked 24/7 for over 40 years in music, a lot of it in rock, a lot of it at arenas, stadiums, and in studios, and that's where rock, lives and grows from. So it's great to share that, Office Drummer.
Amazing. And we love to hear your stories. We love to get the behind the scenes. It's all great stuff. I want to take it back really quick to Daniel Fang, the drummer of Turnstile, and just
Amazing.
his approach, his influence. How do you feel he's been influencing the rock world? Because it seems like he's just everywhere these days.
Yeah, and we're, I want to do more and more with him with Modern Drummer because he's such an awesome guy. He's an incredible drummer. He's an incredible person, which makes such a difference when you're collaborating. To have a great person, when you're not filming and you're not doing things that are public facing, the collaboration is really all about the energy and the person themselves. And Daniel is just a first class guy, and I think he's making a lot of. To answer your question, I think he's influencing a lot of drummers, but I think it's going to really start getting turned up over the next few years. When you look at, and I'm not speaking stylistically in an exact fashion, but when you look at impact and you look at Chad Smith, for an example, right? He's a legendary drummer. He's seemingly everywhere. He played with Ozzy and Andrew Watt. And then, of course, he was at the tribute concert for the Grammys, and he plays stadiums with the Chili Peppers, and then on and on and on and on and on. And he's just had this multi-decade career as one of the most, incredible rock drummers, preeminent rock drummers ever. I see Daniel Fang, although stylistically they're different, of course, and the Chili Peppers and Turnstile are different, but they're all in the rock lane. They're in the what I'll call like the big arena stadium kind of rock lane. And I see Daniel, and he's a young guy, right? So he still has a long way to go to be on the journey that Chad's done, because Chad's, in his 60s now. And I see Daniel Fang on that kind of path. So that means huge things, continued impact, and a lot of people influenced by him, and really learning a lot from his incredible playing.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of passing of the torches going on right now where, for example, the fact that Turnstile beat out Linkin Park for Best Rock Album is epic, because that Linkin Park's cultural impact,
biggest of the big. I mean, biggest streaming rock band, a bit more than Metallica, who as a band that sells tickets, Metallica is obviously bigger because they're doing stadiums all the time. But when you look at streams, Linkin Park's the top streaming rock band. So you're absolutely right. It's a very big moment. Granted, they took time off and that kind of thing, but it's still a big moment. And Turnstile, it's well deserved. These guys it's such a great band. And there's a great documentary. Chat, if you want to learn more about Turnstile, go up on the Apple TV store and look at the Turnstile movie that came out like within the last year. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Man, it's so cool. I love Turnstile so much. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, I do too. And I hope everybody checks them out, because, sometimes I hear people say, and I know this is blasphemous on our show because it's Rock Talk, but I hear people say sometimes rock is dead, right? Because the young generation is into rap and into pop and Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift and BTS and these massively successful artists that are not rock. And when you look at historically the decades of the most popular styles of music, and you have the Beatles, and you have Led Zeppelin, and you have the Who, and you have the Stones, et cetera, it's rock. And then as we get, into these last 10 years, there have been fewer new rock bands. Whereas we had a lot of rock bands coming out in the 80s, and then we had grunge, which, although it was a style of rock and it was called grunge and alternative and whatever, it's still rock. So you had Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all these iconic bands. But you don't see that same kind of evolution occurring at the same pace. There's artists that are more focused, kind of one artist at a time. They're working on their own music as opposed to bands forming. So when you see bands that are newer, like Turnstile, and these other, Paramore, et cetera, it's just great to see awesome rock bands. The Warning, which are the three sisters from Mexico, incredible rock band. So it's just fantastic to see that rock is not dead. It'll never be dead, and if anything, it's better than ever. And that's why we're doing Rock Doc. Chat, what do you think?
Yeah, rock is still alive, baby.
It's alive and better than ever.
Absolutely. I mean, with the passing of the torches and stuff, it just feels like now's the time for rock to make a comeback. And
absolutely.
I mean, what a better time,
There isn't one. It's time. And you look at all the history of music that is as relevant and as fresh today as it's ever been. Aerosmith, who I know chat knows from our last episode, and they'll keep learning as we share more and more, that I have been working with those guys for over 30 years. Their first album is being released as a super deluxe box set in March. Rush, Grace Under Pressure is being released as a box set in March. There's a new Yes box set that's coming out. Van Halen 5150 is coming out as a box set. I know we're going to talk about Alex today. So my point is that this music is timeless, and they're discovering, alternative mixes, alternative takes, outtakes, unreleased songs, so that the legacy of this music just keeps growing richer and richer. And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It just sounds fantastic. It's got great energy, great playing, great just audio, and we can experience it today like we could the day it was released.
Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely have a Rush episode because there's so much there, and obviously,
of course,
Neil Peart.
10 episodes.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Neil Peart has had the most modern drummer covers of any drummer. Is that right?
Oh, that is totally right. And in fact, we have Neil Peart Legends by Modern Drummer, this awesome book that still continues to be a bestseller. And all of Neil's covers are what you see here. And so every cover, and which are, as you said, the most covers of any drummer to be on Modern Drummer, is that recognition goes to Neil Peart. And I don't know if anybody will ever beat him. I believe that's 9 covers. And it's hard to get on one.
Yeah.
So Neil's impact is just unbelievable, and just continues. I know you're a huge Neil fan, right? He influenced you.
Absolutely. And I got to see his drum set and see the place that he rehearsed at the DW facility. So when Rush would go on tour, he would go out to Oxnard and have this big room where he would go and practice by himself for a few weeks before. And it's so cool to see that drum set. I mean, it's insane. I mean, we all know he has a massive drum set, and
they were all innovative. All his drum sets were innovative. And, Alex Van Halen's were too. And we're going to talk about that today. But Alex had a similar approach where every tour, an album had a different drum set concept. So when you look back at in the totality of his entire career, it's really extraordinary, the drum sets that he created. They were all unique. They were all one of ones, or maybe he'd do a B kit, so there'd be 2 of the kits, but that would be it. So these are all works of art. These are all, Alex Picasso Van Halen's.
Well, yeah, let's jump into Alex Van Halen. Chat, how many of you guys are Van Halen fans? Put a W in the chat if you're a Van Halen fan. Obviously,
No, I'm not seeing the chat this very second. I'm going to go over there in a minute. So you tell me, Office Drummer, do we have Van Halen fans here, or do they need to go out and discover what we're talking about? What's going on here?
Looks like we got some Van Halen fans in the chat. Van Halen, obviously one of the most influential bands in rock. And ever, for sure.
And Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen.
Arguably the most innovative rock guitarist ever. I mean, in my opinion, he
Eruption, you know, everyone knows Eruption.
On their first album. That's their first album, yes.
So actually,
and it led into You Really Got Me, which was the first single.
I actually have a lot to learn about Van Halen. I mean, I know their music, and I know Eddie, and I know Alex, but I don't really know their story. You know, I don't really know everything about them. I know that they grew up in Pasadena, were born in the Netherlands.
That's right. Yes.
Alex was born in 1953. His father was a jazz saxophonist and clarinetist. Yep. And just doing a little research, I found out that actually Alex started on guitar and Eddie started on the drums.
Isn't that incredible? And do you know who told me that first? Like when I first heard that bit of story? Alex.
Really?
Yeah, how crazy is that to have the man himself, who I'm very blessed to call a dear friend, and he's an extraordinary person. And he actually texted me randomly one day this story about how he and Eddie switched instruments. And it was almost like a magnet that took the drums and guitars in their house and sent them to the other person. Because initially, Alex had gone to guitar and Eddie to drums. And then it was like a magnetic force that said, nope, guitar over here, drums over there. And here we have two of the greatest musicians in rock history ever, and they always will be, on their respective instruments. So yeah, how crazy is that?
Wild. You know,
and I'm a Van Halen fan because, you know, I'm older than you, Office Drummer, as everyone here knows. And you could even say a good bit older. So when I was 14, they were playing arenas and they were already huge and they were touring. Van Halen was one of the hardest working rock bands in history. They toured every album. So if you look at their albums, they had Van Halen, Van Halen 2, Women and Children First, Fair Warning, Diver Down, and 1984. That's 6 albums. And they did like 8 years of touring on 6 albums. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. They never got off the road. It was like Kiss. When you look at Kiss, Oh, my jacket. You look at Kiss in the 70s. It was like album tour, album tour, album tour. Sometimes album, album tour, but they were doing these albums in 3 weeks, and they're incredible albums. I mean, they're not like just put together to get an album out. They're albums that'll be with us forever that are incredible albums. So this is real art. This is really profound rock music, and that's what Van Halen did. After that first album, they never looked back. They never stopped. So I saw them live a lot because I'm from Boston. They played Boston on every tour cycle. Boston loved Van Halen, so every show was sold out. A lot of times they'd have to do 2 or 3 nights in Boston. And so I got to see them a lot. Of course, I didn't know Alex then. Like, I'm a fan, I'm a kid, I'm going to the concert. So I got to see them from all the perspectives of discovering them, learning about them, seeing them live, tour after tour after tour, seeing how they kept getting better and better and better, which was really saying a lot because they were incredible even the first time I saw them. And then they break up, and David Lee Roth leaves the original lineup, and he goes to a solo band, and then starts, and he's playing arenas. So I break off and see that iteration of David Lee Roth. And then Van Halen brings Sammy Hagar in, and they do 5150, which is an incredible album. And then they have a run of, over 10 plus years with Sammy Hagar. And then Sammy Hagar leaves, and then they bring David Lee Roth back. But they weren't doing new albums at that point. Once Roth came back, it was for touring and for catalog to celebrate, this history of music that they had created and that the fans still wanted to see. So they toured in 07, they toured in 12, and they toured in 15. And then that would be the last tour that they ever did.
And I know when David Lee Roth went and did his own thing, a friend of mine played drums for him, Greg Bissonette.
Dear friend of ours, you know it. We're going to have Greg on here, and he's going to talk about those times.
That would be awesome. I'm sure he's down.
Yeah, let's do it. He's down, man. He's down.
First of all, it's great to be here, and you sound fantastic, Richard. We're friends, everybody, and you just are nailing this Linkin Park song. You know, Rob's a great drummer. You're hearing these parts. You're killing it. But most importantly, your time feel is fantastic.
He's a great rock drummer. He's a great drummer. He is the best. He's playing with Ringo Starr now, who's the most influential rock drummer in history. So no rock talk is complete without mentioning Ringo at least once. Ringo is responsible for almost every drummer playing today, somehow, some way. The 6 degrees of separation to Ringo Starr.
Yeah, and one thing that I love about Ringo is all those drum parts were just written in the studio. John and Paul would come in with the songs and be like, okay, here's the song, we're in the studio, and Ringo would just write his part right there. It wasn't very premeditated. So a lot of that stuff is that creative stuff, like Come Together and, In My Life. And I mean, that was just on the spot. He's a Beatle, can't go wrong. Ringo's cool. Ringo, I love Ringo and respect what the Beatles did for music.
Yeah,
Yellow Submarine still makes me cry.
I love it.
Talk a little bit about your relationship with Alex Van Halen. How'd you guys meet and all that?
Well, we met years ago through Modern Drummer and the Drum Museum that I have. And we have 2 mutual friends. And I think that's how the personal relationship was born, was that we were communicating professionally for a while. And then we were introduced personally on 2 different occasions. One was by John Douglas, who is a brilliant artist and drummer in his own right. And he was Alex's drum tech for over 20 years, very close to Alex. And Nico McBrain, Iron Maiden's drummer, who's a dear friend of Alex. And Nico and Alex and I would go out and have lunch and spend time together. And then we, just developed a great friendship. And Al's just an amazing guy. I mean, amazing drummer, amazing person. And it's really awesome to, when somebody's a great friend and you get to know them as a person, it's an interesting thing that I look at 2 different Als. I look at the Al that's this Al that influenced me and that I listen to on records, and I go through all his incredible drum sets that you see in here that we can talk about, and all the incredible drum parts that he wrote, and everything that he's done that's just so iconic and so important. And then there's the Al that's not about this. That's just a great guy that's funny and warm and just a great friend. Like you and I as friends, office drummer. Like it's a similar thing. Like when you and I are like doing stuff professionally, like it's all about what's our goal? What are we doing? What are we trying to accomplish? But if we're just hanging and we're just, it's like a different thing, even though it's the same people. So it's interesting how that works. I can't say I have that connection with everybody. I know literally thousands of rock stars and musicians and people who have achieved success. They're not all my friends. But the ones that are, like, that's how it kind of goes, is that, you just see them differently because, there's work to do and there's goals to accomplish. And then there's just being people that, want to hang and share, things that are in common. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's obviously a lore and stuff around Van Halen being party animals and stuff like that.
Well, he's married and settled down, but he has the best sense of humor. I mean, you read any of the articles, including the ones that are in his Legends book here, and he's just funny and witty and charismatic and just a fantastic guy. He's a great guy.
Amazing.
But I'll tell you, 12-year-old David, if you had told the 12-year-old David in like the 78th row, the only ticket he could get to Van Halen, right? And I'm hearing more crowd than I am music. If you had told that David that he was going to be friends with the guy that I can see 100 yards away behind this mountainous drum kit, and we'd be sharing stories and talking about some of these shows that I was actually at, I would say, you're absolutely crazy and, you need to stop taking substances. And here we are, I mean, look at this kit. Look at that drum kit from a stage.
Man.
Or that drum kit from a stage. And so you can barely see anybody behind it. It's so massive and so incredible and inspirational. And look at that.
Beautiful.
So when Alex it's beautiful, right? It's iconic. When he would stand up, that's when you would finally see him. So when I'm back in the nosebleed section, it's just an incredible, incredible thing. And, that's how, sometimes things come full circle. And, sometimes you get to meet your heroes and it's incredible. But that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about rock. And Alex Van Halen is rock in every sense of the word. And, you and I have talked about offline when we're not here on Rock Talk. We'll talk about drum sounds. And when you listen to Alex's snare drum, you listen to like the opening of Pretty Woman, right? Or you listen to Hot for Teacher, just the whole song, the openings, all that double bass drum work that's just mind-blowing. And again, iconic, considered one of the most iconic rock drum songs of all time. When you hear that, it's him. So Eddie had a very identifiable sound on guitar, and it's him from the tapping and just the way that he played, the sounds that he got. They were uniquely his. And Alex did the same thing on the drums. And it's awesome because his sound within a measure. What do you guys think about that in chat? Those Van Halen fans out there, you know what we're saying? What do you guys think?
It's the Brown sound, right? Is that what it was called?
Was it?
Something like that. I think I read that somewhere. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
I haven't heard that, but that's I mean, I know his snare drum was like brown walnut, some of them. It had a darker finish to it.
And in that
photo,
he's
certainly a soulful playing.
Oh, for sure. In that photo, I saw you had 4 kick drums. Is that right?
Yeah. And several of them are 2 kicks each. So it's like 8 kick drums.
Wow, that's crazy. Why?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, nobody's ever done anything like this. So look at this. Here, I'll show you. Look at this. So, okay, so what you see here is, tell me, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see how the 2 main kicks are two kicks, one in front of the other. So they're super
Oh.
deep. And then the outside kicks are connected with that tubing.
Oh.
See that?
Yeah.
So there's tubing there. And he did that on all kinds of kits. So if we go here, I mean, look at this one. Is this incredible or what? All the rototoms in there, right? I mean, that, like, what? And then we look at this one with the speakers and the kick drums.
What?
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. I think that's the US Festival kit, if I'm not. Yeah, it is. That's the US Festival kit. And then look at this with all the crystals on the rotos.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, these are just incredible. And then look at this one.
Wow.
I mean, it's a double fold, book to get the drum kit fit into the pages. It doesn't fit on one page. The kit's so vast. And then look at this with all the speakers. And so yeah, these kits have between 6 and 8 kick drums. So they're just monstrous sounding. Absolutely monstrous. I mean, look at this one. I remember seeing this one live.
Is that a kick in a kick?
Yes.
It's like eating.
Yes. It's like a kick in front of the other kick. So they're all designed. Obviously, the visual is unto itself, and no one's ever done anything like it. Alex is completely unique. But the sound part of it is that you get a lot more bottom and a lot more depth. You've just got so many bass drums all connected to the hit that there's so much air moving and so much low end mass moving that it's, man, you want to talk about bottom, you want to talk about rumbling. Here's this.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 kits, 6 kicks. And the gong, 5-foot gong, right? The gong's taller than most people. So it's on the stand. So it's just incredible stuff. So all of this is part of what made Alex so unique in his sound, in when you saw the drum set live, what you heard on the records, just one of a kind. What does chat think? Who's into all of this Alex Van Halen stuff? Who has some history with what Alex has pioneered? What are you seeing?
They're saying he was playing Ludwig.
Oh, his whole career. And the reason he played Ludwig, and he still does to this day, is that his favorite drummer was Ginger Baker from Cream. And Ginger Baker played Ludwig. And so Bonham and Ginger Baker and Ringo, although that wasn't the case in Al's, influence, although he was influenced by Ringo, he was really influenced by Ginger Baker and Bonham. But all of these rock legends played Ludwig. So he played Ludwig, and that's all he ever played.
Wow. I mean, and that kick sound is so highlighted in Hot for Teacher.
Mm-hmm. Oh, imagine, I was a kid who went out and bought that album. They released the single Jump first, and that was on MTV, which was the only way. There was no YouTube back then, right? So the only way to see the video was on MTV. So Jump comes out, song's great, catchy. Al's got the kit. It's just cool as hell. And it's like, man, this is awesome. And the song was great. So people went out, like myself, that was at the height of Van Halen's fame. And 1984 is the album. And we all go out and buy it. And the first song, when you put the record on, is Hot for Teacher. So here I am as a drummer. I'm in heaven. I dropped the needle on the record for the first time. I'd never heard the song before, of course, because it wasn't on the radio or anything yet. And I hear and all the double bass stuff, and I'm going, holy cow, what? This is a pop rock record? Like, this is a commercial rock band playing some of the most complicated double bass drumming I've ever heard. And then it goes into an incredible song with an incredible solo. And then when you watch the video, it's got all these hot girls just disguised as teachers, and they take their clothes off and they've got bikinis on, and it's like this crazy video, all from this, this double bass mastery. And when he goes into the groove, and it's that really driving double bass, it's like, what other top selling song in history ever had that? And the answer is none up to that point. And the concept in general was made really popular, as you and I talked about earlier. Billy Cobham, the iconic drummer, he put out a solo album. His first solo album was a prog fusion album called Spectrum, and the first song on that album was called Quadrant 4 with Tommy Bolin on guitar, and it had this incredible double bass groove, and it was similar to Hot for Teacher 15 years before Hot for Teacher, and really kind of started that whole double bass freight train. And at that time, I was, I was barely born at that time. I was maybe 1 year old when Cobham put that album out. But what I heard from my older friends years later, when we were all kind of rediscovering the album and learning about it, is that they would when that album came out, they would put it on in record stores. And that's how everybody kind of learned about new music. You had radio and you had record stores, and that was it. So dozens and dozens of people an hour would go into record stores, and that would be where they discovered new music. So this album came all across the world. They were playing it in record stores, and the legend of it is that in every store, whether you were in Holland or Toronto or Los Angeles, that they dropped the needle on that track, and the whole store would literally stop and look at the speakers. Like, what is that? That's how cool it was. And Hot for Teacher had a similar effect in the pop rock world.
I mean, it's so different, and it's so... even to this day, it's one of the hardest songs to play. I mean...
So hard. So hard. And everybody gives it a shot, and then you listen, and like most of the variations aren't quite what Al played. They're close. You get the point. You get the idea. But it's very hard to play what he played.
So it was influenced from Billy Cobham. Chad, if you guys don't know, Billy Cobham played with Miles Davis. He was a jazz drummer, but then he played with Mahavishnu Orchestra, which was one of the most influential progressive fusion bands with John McLaughlin on guitar, and just absolutely nutty music, odd times, everything, and was really, really one of the innovators of the fusion rock drumming. So the reason I bring that up is because Hot for Teacher uses kind of like a triplet feel on the kick, which is something that you get in jazz and is really not something that a lot of people do. And it's so much more challenging than just playing straight. You're going like. It's
a fast shuffle, right?
It's a super fast shuffle, but with your feet. Yeah. It's like,
yes,
it's impossible to play if you're not specifically practicing that.
Yep. And Simon Phillips did something like that as well on a Jeff Beck album. Space Boogie he played that on a Jeff Beck album as well later in the 70s. So it kind of the torch was kind of passing. Where you had Billy Cobham, Carmine Appice did something like that as well on Parchment Farm. And then you had from Billy Cobham to Simon Phillips. And then, so Billy, Carmine, Simon, and then Al on Hot for Teacher. But as you said, Hot for Teacher was, I think that might be the fastest of all the songs. They're all really fast, but that might have been the fastest one. But it certainly is the most famous one.
So I've had to play it a few times on stream, like more than a few times. People want me to play Hot for Teacher. And I was getting frustrated after a certain point because I'm like, this song is so hard. I'm going to watch a live video of Van Halen playing it live just to see, like, you know, what does he look like while he's playing it, all that stuff. And they play it so tight, so fast. Like, it was one of the most impressed I've ever been in a performance. Just Eddie and Alex just absolutely shredding. So it's all to say that he really is a legend and an innovator behind the drum set. Did he ever talk to you about his influences? What was he listening to growing up? How did he develop this sound?
Well, he was a huge Ginger Baker fan. So that was really his drummer. That's what he was playing a lot of and being influenced by and inspired by. You know, he, like his brother Eddie, developed their sound by just playing and playing and playing. And they just had a touch and approach, each of them, to their instrument that just created this unique sound. That's why they sound like only them. Nobody sounds like Al. Al doesn't sound like anyone else. And Eddie invented the sound that we have today. So no one will ever be first again. He was first, and if you watch, Nico McBrain and I have a podcast on Modern Drummer called Metal Sticks, and episode 8 of Metal Sticks, which you can see on YouTube. We had Al on the episode. And he told great stories. It's great to kind of see that. And he told this story that, as you said, his dad was a clarinetist and saxophone player, mostly clarinet, and he had a band in Holland. And he had Eddie and Al come to do some shows, and they passed a hat around, and they collected $20 from in the hat. And Al was telling the story that, his dad taught them lessons that they remembered for life. Like, instead of just giving them advice and doing what some dads do, which is great, here's what I think, son, he taught them lessons in the real world, and they never forgot it, and they learned so much. And so he was telling the story. They pass the hat around, they get home at the end of the night, and they say, "Oh, how'd we do?" And Dad says, "Yes, $20. And he goes, "Oh, great." So Dad goes, "Yep, it's 5 for you, Ed, and it's 5 for you, Al." And because they did all the playing, right? The dad was just passing the hat. And Eddie and Al said, "Well, wait a second, though. That's only $5 each. Where's the rest of the money?" And he said, "Welcome to the music business, sons."
Getting started early.
Getting started early. Where's the rest of the money? Welcome to the music business. So they never forgot that. And it taught them a lot that, there's a lot of hands in the pie when you get to become a professional musician. And you really have to understand, what those hands are doing and, where's the pie getting divided. And that was a great way to learn that. So their dad was really, really influential on them in many ways, and really helped them and nurture them to begin what would turn out to be an epic career in music. Chat, what do you think about Rock Talk so far? How are we doing?
So a few people are asking how Van Halen got their band name, and they're not like the Ramones where they just added on Ramones at the end. Van Halen is their last name.
Yeah. Well, two of them, right? The founders, Eddie and Alex, they were called Mammoth originally. And then
Which
they changed which Eddie's son,
son, right?
Wolfgang, who played in the reunion Van Halen tours, played on those 07, 12, and 15, those last 3 tours. Wolfie was the bass player. But he started a band, Wolfgang Van Halen's Mammoth, in to honor his dad and the band's first name. So they were Mammoth. They were playing around Pasadena, right around the corner from where you are. And the next thing you know, they changed their name to Van Halen. The picture on the album, the first album, there's a picture of David Lee Roth almost like upside down. He looks like it. He almost looks like a U turned upside down with his hair and his hands backwards. He's literally doing a backflip. It's one of the most iconic rock star frontman pictures you could ever have, right? You get the guy flipping himself backwards. His hands are almost touching like a gymnast. And he's got no shirt on, leather pants, the whole thing, long hair. And the name of the band's Van Halen. So the first couple of years, people thought that's Van Halen. Like he's one of the only guys in the band not named Van Halen. So it was like really interesting how the whole thing, kind of played out at the beginning. You normally think the front man is, that's the band's name, Bryan Adams and, Sting and Madonna and Prince. Like it's the front man. Like that's the name of the artist. That's the person out front. But in this case, it was the guitarist and drummer, and it was their band. But everybody thought originally that David Lee Roth was Van Halen. So it's just kind of interesting trivia piece. When you look at those pictures, you'll see what I mean.
Definitely. And it's really interesting too, because Alex didn't record any music without his brother.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. It's true. And all the Van Halen records, the only people on every Van Halen record are Alex and Eddie. So you have different bass players, you have different singers, you don't have anybody different on guitar and drums. And that really says a lot. The love that those two guys had and will always have as brothers is so beautiful and so unbelievable. Like every family, you want to have love like that. If all the families had that kind of love, man, how great would it be just to see how close people can be and how loyal they can be to each other. And it's really awesome to see Eddie and Alex's life together.
Yeah, that brotherly connection. We see it in other bands too, like AC/DC. Angus and Malcolm
the Young
Young.
Brothers.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And Alex wrote a really beautiful book that came out, right, called Brothers. So their whole life was about the two of them, and they stuck together. And the music business, especially when you get to that level, when you're at the top for decades and you're a superstar, because what was interesting about Van Halen, right, is that as a band, they're at the top of their game and they're playing arenas and stadiums and they're the biggest band in the world forever. But then individually, they're superstars. So Eddie is going to guest. He plays on Beat It. And Al is playing the drums and doing his thing, and like as superstars themselves, which is like a different thing. That's like another lane to be a guitar god or a drum god. Besides having the band be that famous, a lot of times when bands are that famous, they're not necessarily acknowledged as individual superstars in a specific lane. But in the case of Van Halen, of course, they always will be because they're that good. So that puts a lot more pressure on relationships and on kind of all the choices you have to make. And the two of them were so loyal to each other the whole time and to this day that it's really awesome.
Chat, W Rock Talk. Everybody spam W Rock Talk. Well, if you could talk more about Eddie playing on Beat It, because I think there was some some stuff there where the band didn't want Eddie playing on anything else, and so he's uncredited, I think, or he didn't get paid or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did hear that. You know, I don't know the inside track on that. Like, you know, I've never asked Alex about it. So I just saw a video where Eddie was being interviewed, I think, by Larry King, who was a very famous talk show host for years on CNN. And I think he said, yeah, the band was on break and he got a call and he thought, these are his words. This is nothing. There's no inside baseball here. This is what he said. You can watch the video. And he said, oh yeah, well, no one will ever hear this guy's album. It's just an R&B artist track that I'm going to play on. Ends up being the second biggest selling album in history.
Is it true you didn't get paid to be on the Jackson?
I did it as a favor, you know.
So Michael Jackson rings up and says, Eddie, you're the best guitarist in the world. Can you play on my song Beat It? It's a smash hit around the world, and you get $0.
Well, I didn't ask for anything. It was about 20 minutes out of my life. Quincy had called me up and asked me if I wanted to do it. And honest God truth, the band's policy was, you know, we don't do things outside of the band at the time. And everybody's out of town, so I had no one to ask. And I swear to God, I figured, who's going to know if I play on this Black Kids record? But the funniest thing of all was I actually rearranged the song. The section they wanted me to solo over, it was just, you know, there's no chord changes underneath it. So I had to rearrange the song. And then Michael came in and I said, oh, I hope you don't mind, I changed your song. And he listens and he goes, no, I really like that high-fast stuff you do.
He thought the track would just kind of skate by. I mean, that is priceless.
Yeah.
And the solo, so him. You hear the solo, and it's so Eddie Van Halen. It's just awesome. What a great solo.
I mean, that really just shows how embedded in the mainstream and legendary Van Halen is. To be on a Michael Jackson record and not even think much of it is... That's some next level stuff right there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Chad, should I play a song? I mean, you know, I could bust out a little jam ski. Let's see here. What song should I try? Play Jump? Yeah, why not?
Great song.
Thanks for not saying hot for teacher, Chad. I appreciate it. All right, let's do it. Hey,
man.
Who's ready to rock and roll? Let's play a song. Oh my gosh, that song. That's such a perfect example. That is such a perfect example of what makes Alex Van Halen so legendary, is that he adds in these little things into this song that's just a pop song that are just so unexpected and challenging. I mean, God, it always catches me off guard that I really got to sit down and figure out what that is. But just
the syncopation.
Yeah, it's like it kind of comes out of nowhere, but it goes so well in the song.
Actually, I think we have that transcribed here. Actually, Alex Van Halen Legends by Modern Drummer. Yes, we have the transcription to jump.
I need
So
to.
everybody can learn it here.
I'm going to be taking a look at that.
Yeah, check it out. You have it. You have the book.
Yes, sir.
Yep, digital and print, and it is quite the read if you like rock, Alex Van Halen, or any of the above. So what else we have on Rock Talk before we let chat get on with their life?
Well, I think next week we should talk about Aerosmith. I mean, you have such a deep, history with Aerosmith and relationship. Yep. I think there's just so much to talk about there.
Yep, we can do Ozzy Part 2 when people are ready.
Ozzy Part 2 for sure. Ozzy was a huge hit with everybody.
And I have a question. They were asking about comic books earlier. Is chat into comic books? Is this a comic book collecting group?
Guys, do you like comic books? I feel like a lot of you guys gotta like comic books for sure. And yeah, Maiden sometime. We'll definitely have to talk about Maiden.
Oh yeah, we have Metal Sticks and Nico.
Yeah.
We should bring Nico onto the stream.
That would be sick.
Why not?
Marvel or DC?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm gonna say Marvel just because I'm so into all of the movies. I love the DC movies too. Obviously, the Christopher Nolan, Dark Knight and that, but Marvel's just got there's such a catalog following all through, Endgame. So I have to say Marvel, but it's tough because I really love what DC's done with the Batman series. And as we talked earlier, I love Batman. Did everybody see this? Did you see Superman? Did you see the Superman movie they came out with last summer?
I have not. No,
I haven't seen it yet either, but it did really well. And a lot of people love it.
Well, I love the animated Batman series from the 90s. That is...
I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh, that's my childhood right there.
Really? Was it Saturday morning stuff?
I don't remember when they played it because I just remember watching it, but it's like dark, it's gritty, it's awesome. I actually was
animated.
Yeah, it's animated. I was rewatching it like a year ago, and it is so good. It is so good.
Wow, that's cool. I gotta check it out.
Well, David, thank you so much for coming on and enlightening us. Chat, if you guys want to get the Legends book, you can get it at moderndrummer.com.
Yeah.
So you can learn all about it. Got transcriptions.
Yep, Alex Van Halen. You can subscribe to Modern Drummer, of course. Be part of the community. Office Drummer, we got some great stuff to share with everybody as this year gets going, man. We are just, it may look like our pedals to the metal, but we're still in like third gear, and we are getting ready to just ramp this up. And when we hit seventh gear, man, it's going to be like, whoo, put your seatbelt on.
Oh yeah.
So rock talk, and we're gonna be rocking all right. So we love you guys, chat. We love seeing you here. We love you being the best part of what we do. Certainly, the Modern Drummer community is all about what you guys are doing, and we love it. So just keep doing what you're doing and be a part of this, because this is just it's much better when we're all together. Wouldn't you agree, Office Drummer?
Absolutely, 100%. And this is, like David's saying, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing. This is literally just just the tip of the iceberg. So we've been talking a lot about very cool stuff. Next, episode 3 is going to be next Thursday. So 2 p.m. Pacific time on Thursdays. Maybe, you know, we'll think about scheduling, but 2 p.m. Thursdays for now.
Do you know something? Next Thursday,
Yeah,
I'm going to be with a drummer from Brazil who's an up-and-coming but very successful metal drummer, and we're going to be in the studio filming. So I think I'll bring him into the mix next week, and I'll be at the studio. I won't be here in my office where you see all the records and all that. I'll be at a studio, and I'll be doing rock talk there. So, you know, we talk about walking the walk and rocking the talk. Well, we're going to be doing that full steam next Thursday because I will be in the studio rocking while we're talking. And that is going to happen next Thursday. So that's been scheduled for a while, and it just happened to fall on the Thursday that we do this. So let's do it. What does chat think?
they're saying hell yeah, yes, that would be cool. Oh, let's go, sweet, hell yeah, W. That would be sick. Wait, I have a question. How up and coming is this Brazilian drummer? Is he
Young, like 20 or 21.
Oh, okay.
Has over 100. It's not Eloy.
Okay. I was just wondering. Wondering.
No, Eloy is the furthest thing from up and coming, as we all know. But he's in the same. He's following the footsteps, so it's going to be really cool. It's going to be a really, really good time.
Okay, great. So next Thursday, guys, tune in. And David, thank you again. Shout out Modern Drummer. Everybody, please, moderndrummer.com. Subscribe. It's the longest.
Drummer, baby.
It's the best gold standard for drumming magazine and information. And it's educational. It's entertaining. It's everything that you could want.
It's the community, man, and since 1977, and it's just an incredible celebration of drumming and love of music that is unto itself. It's a gold standard, as you said, and we love you guys. So thank you, Office Drummer. I will see you next week for our Rock Talk. And guys, everybody stay safe. Have a great rest of the day.
All right, David, thank you. Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate you. Bye, guys.